That's one of those moments where you go, okay, they were kids. It's fine. It's okay. They were young and they're going to get better. They stayed strong. They had very, very, very good songs on this record. So you don't need all of it perfect. But then you get to Brand New Eyes and everything's okay.
We Are Broken is a great song.
The Emo Social Club is reviewing every record ever made by all the bands that we grew up loving, all the bands that we have yet to love, all the albums we have yet to listen to. We're doing them all, and we're going to tell you our thoughts on every single one of them.
You're going to hear everything that you hate and love. You're not going to have a choice.
We're breaking it down for you, and on this episode, it's a big one. It's a huge one. It's a gigantic one. We're reviewing Riot by Paramore, one of our favorite bands. One of my favorite bands of all time, like for sure. Lizzie, before we talk about this record, though, let us know a little bit more about Paramore, about Riot, about Misery Business, about all of it.
About everything, actually. This was their second album. It was released on June 12, 2007 via Fueled by Ramen. This charted number 15 on the Billboard 200 charts and number 2 on the top alternative albums charts. And number 4 on the top rock albums. This went triple platinum. That is insane for the time with this kind of album that was put out.
They're just kids.
Literal children. The singles that came off of here were, of course, Misery Business, and that spent 22 weeks at number 3 on the Billboard Alternative charts. Hallelujah, Crush, 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 and That's What You Get, which is certified double platinum. They initially named the album Riot because what was being processed through all of their writing, and they felt like it was just uncontrolled chaos, and that's how they figured out what the name was going to be. And when they were figuring out who could produce this, Neil Avron was in the running. Again, Fall Out Boy producer. Okay. They ended up going with David Bendeth, who had worked previously with Breaking Benjamin, Red Jumpsuit Apparatus. More previously has also worked with Bring Me the Horizon as well.
Woo.
They went on to co-headline later with The Starting Line. In 2008, they co-headlined with Jimmy Eat World and played Warped Tour as well that summer. Then they did the final Riot tour with Jack's Mannequin, Paper Route, and Phantom Planet.
Paper Route, by the way, super underrated band.
So the reviews, ironically, when this came out, very in the middle because everybody was comparing Hayley Williams' vocals to Avril Lavigne and Kelly Clarkson. And nowadays, every female vocalist gets compared to Hayley Williams.
You earned it, Hayley.
Our friends at Jesus Freak Hideout had something to say as well. We got to bring it back.
Bring the freaks.
Justin Mabee declared that while this new album may lack some of the spiritual depth that rocked their debut, the whole record retains a very positive feeling to it. The band has come a long way with the album since they have originally formed.
This is the big one.
The big kahuna here.
Big kahuna. Large kahuna.
I don't even know why he said that. It just came out like word vomit.
It's going in the clip.
Here it is.
It's going in the clip.
The big kahuna.
The big kahuna. Before we get into our thoughts and our opinions on this record, make sure you are subscribed. This is a big one. We have other big ones on the way. We have other surprise hits. We've got other ones we may like and other ones we may not. But if you're not subscribed, you'll never know when they come out. So make sure to hit that button. Leave a comment if you want to recommend another record for us to do. Leave a comment if you hate that we talked about this record at all, or that you're like, why are you even reviewing a record that everybody loves and knows? It's one of the biggest in the scene. We're going to do it with a lot of other ones. So make sure you are subscribed and you comment and you like and you do all the stuff. Give a like for Paramore. Give a like for Hayley. One like does not go to any of the members no longer in Paramore.
So when we talk about Riot and Paramore in 2007, this was my 8th grade year.
It's almost inappropriate to let a woman talk about Paramore first.
It's almost appropriate.
Like, oh, it was a girl and it's a girl and I'm beyond.
It's just very girly pop for me.
Ladies.
Paramore was introduced to me by one of my friends that I went to Catholic school with, and we had to hide from her mom that we were listening to Misery Business because of the music video that was on youtube.com. It was not deemed as quote unquote appropriate.
That's correct.
And when everybody has talked about, again, the rhetoric of feminism and everything at that time. And now, but Misery Business was my first introduction to Paramore, and it definitely changed a lot for me because from there I listened to Riot. Phenomenal album. And then I went back to All We Know Is Falling, which is probably one of my favorite Paramore albums of all time, arguably. I just think that Paramore is such a long lasting band. I don't think that they can ever put out anything that is bad. And this album's kind of a testament to it, especially so young, that they're able to curate specifically to this time and also be literally one of the main stage acts that was the only female lead during that primary era that really stood out and carried it through the entire way.
Paramore is one of my favorite bands. It really started with Brand New Eyes for me. Like I thought that All We Know Is Falling, the singles off that were really good. And I thought this one was pretty good too. But really, once Brand New Eyes came out, I was like, this is one of the greatest bands of all time. I love what this band creates, how Hayley writes her lyrics and her melodies and all this stuff. You know, over the years, I've revisited this album a lot. And I always have this thought about it where I'm like, it really is just a bunch of kids writing in a scene that they are very clearly a part of, that they're very clearly involved in. But it is that, like, we're still growing, we're still getting there. And they have really, really, really strong songs on this one. And they have some that I'm like, if, you know, when we get to Brand New Eyes, this is all going to be okay. The first half of the record is so strong, sort of like gets to some that I'm like, we don't need this anymore.
No.
I've always said this. This is always my thought about it.
I know you've been wrong for a very long time.
For a Pessimist, I'm pretty optimistic, is one of their best songs. It's incredible.
Oh, yeah.
It's underrated. It should have been a single. So you start at that level, and then by the time you get to We Are Broken, I'm like, okay, I think we're good. I think I'm okay.
No.
It's too Nashville Christian country. My parents are okay if I listen to this, for like the emo scene. It just never did anything for me. It still doesn't, even listening to it now. It's one of those songs that feels like a kid wrote it. And a lot of the other ones that I don't like on this feel like, okay, this is just a young band. These are younger kids when they're writing this stuff. The lyrics are not as strong. There was a review I saw of it. I think it was in AP Magazine when this album came out, where someone said, the lyrics are immature. Here's why you know that, because she says your arms are like towers towering over me. It's like, oh, you use the same word twice. Good. And like, that's one of those moments where you go, okay, they were kids. It's fine. It's okay. They were young and they're going to get better. They stayed strong. They had very, very, very good songs on this record. So you don't need all of it perfect, but then you get to Brand New Eyes and everything's okay.
We Are Broken is a great song.
What are some other top tracks you got?
Well, you took mine for a Pessimist. I'm pretty optimistic because it's a ripper of an
insane.
opener. It's
insane.
so stupid crazy.
And that one doesn't sound immature.
No, it sounds so grown up and developed.
That sounds like a song that like Taking Back Sunday would have written 2 years before this. That sounds like something that they clearly know how to write a very, very, very good pop punk song and good for this scene. Put the energy more into that, do more of that. And then they did Brand New Eyes and everything was fine.
Oh my God. Let the Flames Begin is one of my favorite songs off of Riot, specifically from the final Riot live album.
Okay.
Because the outro, and if you ever have watched that DVD, I watched it religiously and I saw it in person. It was insane. That was literally probably the spiritual experience that Jesus Freak Hideout needed to really bring it back together. I don't know, man. It just kind of hits different. It does something to you. It does yield back to All We Know Is Falling, which is, again, one of my favorite Paramore albums as well. Still was bringing that, their older vibe into the frame and saying like, yes, we get it. We're here for the people who were originally here and we're integrating it into our new sound and building upon it more.
I'm not going to talk about any of the singles. They're already well known and good. So Hallelujah, third song on there. I really like the guitar parts in this. I really like how it builds into the choruses. I really like how catchy it is. And it made me want to join the Jesus Freak Hideout. Now I am hiding my Jesus Freakness.
I hope that we're honorary members of the Jesus Freak Hideout Brigade after this.
Does this effectively hide my freakness?
Fences and Born for This. Those are tied for me because those are ones that are on constant repeat and have been since this album came out.
Do you remember when I said like about some of those albums and bands that would do like the random little like ragtime like sort of like that?
It's so fun.
Like this sort of like cabaret shit. And it's like you just wrote a bunch of pop punk songs and ballads and all that. And all of a sudden you're doing this thing where it's like I'm supposed to dance and there's like this little shuffle beat. Like, and it's only because it's like so many bands, like the 11th song on the record would just be this like weird little like shuffle cabaret song. Oh my God. If you want to be Panic at the Disco, just go be Panic at the Disco.
But they were showcasing that they could be Panic at the Disco if they wanted to, but they didn't have to.
That is
and it's
not
done so well. It is done so well.
Has it done well? Has it done well?
It's done very fantastically.
I love how often we hear fences in modern culture.
You know what? If people weren't cowards and would play it more and be
You need to tear
cultured,
down the fences.
Born for This is another one that is like tied with me for fences. I know that originally this was written as a song to be like, hey, thanks to our fans for making us popular. And it's like, oh, hey, I need to push myself to do better in life. Yay. Thank you, Hayley Williams and Paramore. I think a lot of the drums that are like building up, it just makes it more energetic and you can just get into it.
Yeah, I've never thought this was their strongest record. Love the songs that I love on this, and I love the majority of them, but then I get to Brand New Eyes and everything is okay. My main takeaway from this record, even today, is, man, I really like Brand New Eyes, that record from top to bottom.
Hey guys, I'm looking for a new co-host after we have a conversation tonight.
Also, like, I get that Crush, Crush, Crush was like such a big song. It's one of those songs where you're like, huh, that's an unexpected hit. Like I wouldn't expect that to be like a major single off of this over Pretty Optimistic or Hallelujah even.
I feel
Let
that
the Flames Begin could even be a single.
Oh,
like
yeah.
It's like that one is a weird little song on this one that I think is also done well on different types of genre radio, you know? Like say something mean about this record. I fucking dare you. Thanks for checking out this episode on Misery Business from Misery Lizness.
Your authority on this entire album. I think the only thing I could really say as any type of spicy take with it is that I think Hallelujah is a song that really just should have been previously on All We Know Is Falling. That's really it.
So one of the ones I liked, you're like, that one, no. But everyone that I didn't like for you, you're like, oh, you're
I've
wrong
already
about
felt
that.
this way about Hallelujah. I'll play it, and I think it's a fine song, but it doesn't match the energy that is on this record. I feel like they try to make it work in that little impasse with like Hallelujah, Let the Flames Begin, We Are Broken, but it still sounds so much more like All We Know Is Falling that it feels a little bit disjointed.
This whole record sounds disjointed. It's a bunch of kids who wrote a bunch of songs and
They
Jesus Freak
bang. What do you
hideout.
mean? Ryan's just a hater.
It's so hard to talk about this record with you and in general because it's Paramore. So like we have so much knowledge of what this band does and what they become and how people move in and out. And like, they were part of a machine. They were part of a label. They were part of making this music. They were taking off. They were getting incredible numbers because it was the only woman, quote unquote, doing it in this scene in this way. And everybody was looking up to her and she was becoming a fucking icon. And so it's like impossible to really have a good conversation about this record without being like, yeah, I know that song. I know this album. I know everything about it. Like, it's not necessary to even look back and say, what do I think about these songs? It's like, well, later on, they become the Talking Heads. Later on, they become an indie band. Even when they try to do something different on this and knowing that they're going to become something different as a band altogether, it's like saying something negative about this album is almost irrelevant.
Thing is with Paramore is that they've had so many different phases of them that we've all seen and usually have matured with throughout the years.
Yes.
That we can look back and say, for the time, this was good and I will reflect on it and I listen to it because it is still good. Because there are bands that I definitely listen to that I'm like, I'm never going back and listening to this album. This is bad.
Choose not to.
We don't really do that with Paramore. You can have critical analysis on it, but I will also say Riot is a very long-standing, kind of timeless record of that era that I don't ever really seeing having that much critical breakdown needed.
It just is. It just exists. You have Misery Biz. You've got That's What You Get. You've got all the really good songs on this one. You don't really need to be spicy about it or be worried if someone's spicy about it. Those are our thoughts. Those are our opinions. You don't really need to be mad at me for them, but do subscribe. Do let us know what you think. Do leave a like. The like is for Hayley and not for me, but it is for us. So please leave a like. Please leave a comment. Let us know what other records we should review, what we should talk about, what you think about Hayley Williams, what you think about Paramore. Let us know in the comments. But until Paramore and until Riot, we'll see you there.